Hello everybody, CritCrab here with another story, this one about a player who exposed himself as an abuser to the rest of the table through D&D. Roll post. Content warning, slightly NSFW, vague mentions of sexual assault and abuse, and a foolish 18-year-old girl making foolish 18-year-old decisions. So, as a quick preface, I was raised by a very strange, crazy lady. I was told fantasy, sci-fi, comic books, basically anything not Barbie or Easy Bake was not for girls. Among a lot of worse stuff that may have something to do with why I was 18 dating a 26-year-old. So the second she was out of my life, I dove headfirst into all of it, and maybe got a little obsessive. At some point, my boyfriend, at the time, ended up telling me that a friend of his wanted to DM a short beginner campaign for new players. Obviously, I was all in, but I had no idea how to proceed. The players were me, 17 to 18, ex-boyfriend, 26-ish, and DM, in his 30s. Plus one other player who I do not remember much of, but I do remember he played a homebrewish monk. The DM worked very closely with me on my character, an elf cleric of a homebrew religion. Her name was Asha, and she was a very shy, quiet, nun-like character with immense amounts of devotion to her homebrew goddess. He had helped me make a low-maintenance RP character who also had very strong ties to the lore, the world, and the planned plot. It was great for my personality and honestly a very nice way to slowly wade into the waters of D&D, especially roleplay. The DM also told me in private that I was going to be something of a MacGuffin, as Asha's goddess would commune with her through dreams and visions, but I would have the final say on what to share with my party, both in-game and out of character. The basic plot was that a sect of Asha's religion was becoming a cult and warping the religion, so Asha's goddess sent her on a mission to squash the heretics. Ex-boyfriend rolled a tiefling warlock, who he named after his own gamertag. Let's call it 7. So Asha and Monk meet up and have the same goal. Turns out the cult has taken over the monk's temple and killed his best friend. Asha doesn't trust strangers who are not of her religion, but her goddess tells her to work with the monk. Okay, cool. Then we meet 7. Asha insta-hates him. He's a warlock and she's a religious fanatic. Monk convinces Asha to let the warlock join us as he has some secret mission from his patron that at least somewhat aligns with Asha and Monk's. She doesn't like it, but she trusts Monk because her goddess said she should. 7 instantly starts to hit on Asha. She's rejecting, awkwardly, both in-game and out of character, but it's not too bad. It kind of makes sense that an evil warlock would get a kick out of making this goody two-shoes feel uncomfortable. We have a few fun fights, meet a PC who Asha really likes and gets a great vibe off of, but can't convince to join us because I failed the charisma checks. She's mad shy and timid. And as she's expressing this affection to the NPC, 7 gets mad and tries to steal from him in his own home. Asha gets mad and calls him out. I never said she was subtle. And instead of dropping the random thing he stole, 7 decides to attack the NPC. Guards get called, DM goes easy on us, and instead of TPKing, has us kicked out of the city. This is when 7 kicks it up. He begins making much harder, stronger moves on Asha, and out of character, I'm beginning to feel really uncomfortable. I'm new to roleplay, and also at the time I was very uncomfortable with PDA, so this was not great for me. We make camp after a rough goblin encounter, and 7 immediately says that he wants to sneak into my tent. DM pauses and asks why. Ex-boyfriend: I'm gonna f*** her. DM: Asha? I quietly and uncomfortably respond, Asha wouldn't do that. DM: that's a no, 7. So Monk. Ex-boyfriend: I sneak in then. DM takes a long pause. To talk to her? Ex-boyfriend: nope. To sleep with her. DM takes a longer pause. Actually, Asha has taken a vow of celibacy. Sorry, I almost forgot. This wasn't on my backstory, but also wasn't far out of the realm of possibility. I did note on my backstory that she was somewhat prudish, so a vow of celibacy doesn't seem that much a stretch. Ex-boyfriend: so what? My character doesn't care about that. DM. So, you're going to force yourself on her. Ex-boyfriend. If I have to. He is literally grinning as he says this. The monk looks disgusted and shocked. The DM just looks confused, and I'm starting to feel myself shake and go into a panic attack. I can't say anything, I'm just focused on trying to breathe. DM, I'm not allowing that. 7 doesn't do that. Just no. He pauses for a long time, takes off his glasses and rubs his face. Then he sighs and says, "You know what, guys? I've got a headache. Let's just end this session early." As we pack up, the DM says that he has a new dream for Asha, and it's the norm for us to discuss those in private away from Monk and ex-boyfriend. So we move into a different room. DM gives me his wife's cell number and says to please call her if I ever feel unsafe. He tells me I have lots of friends who care about me and that I don't have to put up with anyone mistreating me. When we get in the car, ex-boyfriend starts ranting about Monk, saying that when they were all alone, Monk had made a comment about how gross he had been and that ex-boyfriend had said his character was just as entitled to Asha's body as he was to mine. DM never invited us to another session, though him and his wife did call me a few times after to check on me. Something that sent ex-boyfriend into rages. Looking back on it, I can see that this game was the first time anyone had put to words what was happening in real life to me, and hearing it from an older man really began to fit pieces together in my head how unhealthy that relationship was. And yes, the things he tried to do to my character were similar to things he did to me. It took a D&D campaign to make me and his friends realize how nasty he actually was. This was 6 or 7 years ago, but I've been thinking about this lately because a friend of mine has encouraged me to try out D&D again. This time with him as a DM and a male character inspired by a cross of Dick Grayson and a character from the Feast novels. Hopefully, second time's the charm. TLDR, boyfriend at the time plays D&D with me, outs himself as a creep by trying to rape my character, and loses the respect of his longtime friend. End post. This channel is now a That DM appreciation channel. All of my future videos will be spent talking about how great that DM was. But seriously, jokes aside, the DM is the real MVP here and I could not find a single thing he could have done better. I mean, he did everything right. He stopped the game as soon as he realized what was happening and didn't try to resolve it in-game. Let OP know what her ex was doing without any ulterior motives. Spoke with OP in private and made sure she was okay. He gave her a way to reach out to him, but also his wife in case she was understandably more comfortable talking to a woman about this. And after all that, he still followed up with her. That DM and his wife are real friends, and them going to those lengths for one of their players is honestly really heartwarming. So this one's to all you DMs and players out there that understand that D&D is just a game. And if things get too serious, or if enough red flags are raised, it's time to stop playing and fight some real-world monsters. Anyways, if you enjoyed this video, please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel for more stories just like this one. Till next time.